Hello and a very warm welcome to you all, and thank you for joining us today's webinar covering HVO. My name is Jon Jones and I'm the Product Category Manager of Fuel Products at Harlequin. We at Harlequin have used the last 40 years in the industry to become the leading manufacturer of polyethylene storage tanks and in response to challenges faced by the industry. And with HVO, we've been at the forefront promoting this fuel and the future-proof products that are compatible with it. Today's webinar will focus on what HVO means for the industry and specifically the future of home heating. Scott Lorraine, our technical expert, will present today's webinar. Scott has over 33 years in the industry. So without further ado, I'll hand you over to Scott to go through the short presentation.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction, John. Hello, everybody. Is it really 33 years? Wow, time flies when you're having fun, hey? So as John says, I'm Scott, and I'm happy to present to you a short overview of HVO and where it fits into the home heating oil market. I'm going to be trying to look at answering the key three questions that you see on the screen right now and sharing with you in the short presentation some data, some facts, some views, so we increase your knowledge on HVO and hopefully understand where it fits into the home heating market in the UK for the future. So before we get to those key questions, let's have a look at what's driving the changes in the home heating market in general. As you'll see from the facts on the slide, there's a very big challenge ahead for home heating, with oil and gas being replaced by renewable sourced energies in a relatively short time frames. The facts show a large demand for heat pumps to be installed in the coming years, and this will require an army of installers to deal with the homes in gas in the UK. So that means that HVO offers a great alternative to upgrade homes where a boiler and tank is a viable option. HVO saves a huge amount of carbon over Kero. It offers carbon usage figures in the same area as heat pumps. HVO is a simple, cost-effective option for older properties to upgrade and be able to have their heating system operate as it always has without the need for major system component upgrades and additional insulation. Basically, it keeps the ability to provide immediate heat and warmth in an older property. So looking at HVO in a bit more detail, what is HVO itself? HVO, as I'm sure many of you are already aware, is a biofuel, and it's made from hydro-treated vegetable oils. I'm going to apologize in advance here because I'm going to say a lot of things with "hut" in. I'm fairly sure I'm going to stumble over one or two of them. So at present, HVO is mainly being used as a renewable diesel for on-road applications. Hydro-treating uses high pressure and the addition of hydrogen to the vegetable oil to what they call hydrocrack the large molecules into smaller ones and create the fuel. Just about got through that. The process produces a paraffin-like product, and it really is actually part of the paraffin family of fuels, although it's not made from mineral diesel. And of course, this has the benefit of a massive reduction in greenhouse gas to the tune of 88% actually. HVO is also designed to be a clean burning fuel with reduced NOx and particulate emissions, which obviously makes this a great choice from an environmental standpoint. The great thing about HVO is it can be made from many oils and fat sources, included some recycled and byproducts from industry. At the moment, over 20 billion litres a year of HVO are currently being produced around Europe, with most of this right now, as I mentioned, going to the road fuel market. UK already has a number of facilities set up with more planned for the future. At the moment, HVO is a more expensive product than kerosene, as it is being used mainly for road fuel and carries the road fuel duty for that reason. However, this is something that we expect to change in the future to reflect its increased use in heating systems. So having a look at this slide, what I'm looking at here is what are the key differences between this and biodiesel. So I'll let you read the words for yourself, but HVO really is different to what's come before it as biodiesel. It has a 10-year shelf life, which is very different to all previous variants of biodiesel and even kerosene itself. The reason behind this is that the hydrotreating process is much more consistent than transesterification process you're used to previously to produce biodiesels. Transesterification produced much less consistent results. The transesterification process basically splits one product into two, so there's a byproduct, where hydrotreating doesn't do this. It creates one product from one product, which is a very much more consistent product at the end. So what is the future for home heating in the UK? So as we've seen, the UK government have set out dates to stop fitting new gas and oil appliances and to phase out the use of gas and kerosene completely. These dates aren't really too far away. Late last year, the government laid out its home heating strategy for the next few years, and the heat pumps have been strongly recommended as a replacement for gas and oil, with electricity being used more in small urban properties, flats and such like, with HVO being used as an older in off-grid rural properties that are probably currently using oil. The info regarding rural properties is backed up with information from the National Grid, where they have stated at least 1 million rural homes couldn't be upgraded to heat pumps due to major supply challenges with the electricity. National Grid have also stated that 25% of the entire rural network would be overloaded even when they've performed an upgrade to over 70% of the transformers on a cold winter's day if we saw the use of heat pumps in all of these properties. So it's fair to say the government's thoughts about using air source heat pumps are possibly a tad more optimistic than mine personally, in the view of a good few colleagues in the rural heating industry. But the important fact is HVO, as it appears in the government's heat strategy, is a clear alternative and is really the principal option for people unable to have an air source heat pump or who still want to have a traditional style boiler. We also see boiler manufacturers now starting to bring out hybrid products, air source and HVO working together, as you'll see on the picture on the slide. I'll talk a little bit more about heat pumps in the next few slides, so you can clearly see the advantage of using HVO in certain situations over these products. So for information purposes, what is an air source heat pump? What are its challenges? Heat pumps, mainly air source, air to water is predominantly what I'm talking here, rather than air to air, are going to be what the government are asking people to use over the next few years in the majority of homes in the UK. And as you'll see on the information on the slide, there are a few challenges to older properties being able to work with heat pumps. 44% of all properties with oil heating were built before 1919, and over 50% of them before 1945, making for sort of a very, very old housing stock rurally. 49% of all rural properties are detached, which obviously mean they require more energy to stay warm, as you've got nothing between you like you would have in a terraced house. That means that with an air source heat pump, you're going to potentially need to upgrade insulation, maybe some outdoor cladding, definitely larger radiators, maybe go to underfloor heating, upgrade the glazing, all of which is going to prove costly and potentially intrusive for homeowners. Research we've seen states that the average cost, based on 38% of oil heated homes that were surveyed to upgrade, would be £23,000 to take these measures to bring them all up to a standard, and a further 27% having costs over 30,000. And if you put that against what it will probably cost to upgrade to HVO, that's about £500. So it's a significant difference there. You might also see that older homes have a problem with their fuse. 44% of homes built before 1919 only have a 60 amp fuse, and you need a 100 amp fuse to run a heat pump. If that can be done, which is not always the case, it would have a cost of more than £1,000 to do that upgrade alone. If you've got a property which is ERPD or lower, air source is definitely going to be a challenge for you. Air source guys actually look at ERP and they see that as a very rough guide. They really see the challenge is, can you provide enough heat to that property with water being circulated around the radiators at around about 35 to 40 degrees C and feel comfortable? And the answer to that, when you talk to these guys, is that in a well-insulated, draft-free home, you probably would feel comfortable with your house at about 18 degrees C. But in an older, drafty house, 18 degrees C, you could feel very cold. Similar to a winter's day where you feel the wind chill factor, a draft makes you feel much cooler. So you've definitely got to do something to insulate, to stop drafts. You've got to have radiators that can work at those much lower temperatures, which mean bigger radiators. This also potentially means no cast iron decorative radiators, because they wouldn't operate under these circumstances. You've then got a secondary problem, of course, coming around that you've got to think about if you take these measures, which is that in the summer, you've done this great job of insulating and draft protecting your house. Your home is now going to be pretty warm in the summer, so you've got to think about ventilation as well. And there's a third thing to take into consideration, which is in areas like in Wales, very specifically, and generally in the UK, used by lots of house builders recently, you've seen more and more combination boilers going on. And a combination boiler, of course, doesn't have a hot water cylinder in the property. So you've now got to find a home for a hot water cylinder of some kind with an air source heat pump and get that space back. So all this leads me to the question, what is the future of home heating oil? So in my mind, it's HVO without a doubt. That's certainly the view of OFTEC and various other industry bodies. HVO appears within the government's UK heat strategy as a renewable alternative for both existing homes in the UK, and it also has a SAP rating, which means that it's also approved for use in new build homes as well. All our tanks are now HVO ready, and so many boiler manufacturers are also making products that are HVO ready. And of course, it may be possible to make an older boiler compatible with HVO for around about £500, as I mentioned earlier. So as a quick summary, HVO is a very, very viable alternative to kerosene. It's ticking the government's heat strategy boxes. It's SAP rated. It's the best option for off-grid homes and older homes in the UK. In a survey by the Future Ready Fuel team of 2,000 current oil heating users, 98% of those users said they would welcome the opportunity to go to HVO. We at Harlequin are ready for HVO now. It's a drop in fuel with regards to the tank. So any tank you buy now from us can use kerosene for the moment, and you can change it whenever the user is ready to do that. Thank you very much for listening. Just to talk for a moment about us, we do have an extensive range of above and below ground heating oil tanks. Top and bottom outlet are available. As I mentioned earlier, from the 1st of January 2022, all our product is suitable for HVO. So that was a very brief overview. I hope you've learned a little bit from that. That's me. So back to you, John. I think we may have a couple of questions from our viewers.
Thank you very much for that, Scott. Very informative presentation. I hope we've all found it useful and basically understand what HVO means for the industry, the homeowners and business owners for the future. We'll go into a few questions now. We've got a few here. So the first question we got, Scott, what do you think the availability of HVO is going to be moving forward? Are we going to have to import from other countries?
It's an interesting question. And of course, you know, who knows what the future holds, but we can start to see the way that's coming out from what the government are doing at the moment. There's a body called the Trade Remedies Authority. And what they're looking to do is to get import duties removed on HVO so we can bring it in predominantly from America, Canada, potentially Northern Europe, where these people have lots and lots of waste materials that can be turned into HVO. So it's a very, very good thing actually looking at this import, because it's actually dealing with this waste product that these countries have got, and we can put that to use. There has been many other chats as well about the amount of raw material that will be available locally as well, because as we start to see diesel cars and the use of diesel reduce in our country, and the 5% that's going into the diesel blend at the moment of biodiesel, that feedstock will start to become more available to us locally as well. So I guess the answer is imports are definitely going to be something we do, but we shouldn't look at that as a bad thing. Environmentally, it's a great thing. And our raw material stocks locally in the UK may increase as well to be able to produce this. And we are seeing more manufacturers obviously starting to get into this market as well.
Thank you very much for that, Scott. Second question here. Do I need to modify my tank or boiler with HVO?
So HVO, as I mentioned in the presentation a couple of times, really, it's obviously a different product to a small extent. It's a paraffin-based product. It will have different viscosities and properties. So modification is probably not completely the right word. It's more about settings and changes that might need to get made to your to your boiler for it to be able to operate because of the different viscosity of the fuel. So the work being done to a boiler may be the same as is undertaken in a service, where settings are being changed and one or two components might need to be upgraded or changed. And as I say, with the tanks, everything from us now from the 1st of January 22 is HVO compliant. And that should mean that most customers can see this as a complete drop-in product going forward.
Thank you very much. And one of the last questions here, is my home heating oil going to be more expensive when I switch to HVO?
Again, it's a difficult question to give an absolute answer to, because things have changed so much in the market in recent times. In the last 6 months, things have changed dramatically. I think what we can say is that all fuels and all energy is going to be more expensive because of this drive to reduce carbon and reduce things. So we're going to see electricity become more expensive. You know, if hydrogen makes it to the marketplace, it will be an expensive alternative. Everything is going to be more expensive, in inverted commas, than probably what we've experienced over the past years. To put some context around that, though, specifically with HVO, at the moment, kerosene is about £1 a litre in the UK. And if you look at HVO, it's about £1.60. The reason for that actually is more about the road duty that's being applied to that fuel. OFTEC, of course, are lobbying alongside others to get that road duty removed, so this can be treated as a heating fuel and make it closer to kerosene going forward. So again, it's a slightly disappointing answer in some way, because I think the answer to your question is yes, it will be a little bit more expensive to heat your house going forward, but that will also be true of an air source heat pump using electricity or any other products that are out there at the moment.
Thank you. That covers the questions submitted on this short webinar today. I'd just like to thank you all for taking the time to attend this webinar. If you do have any questions in the future that haven't been covered with this one, please don't hesitate to contact us. On behalf of myself, Scott, and Harlequin, thank you very much.